Hey, this is Dan Drory-Lehrer from Johnnyland, and I'm here at Sonic Boom Records with Shad.
Yes, happy to be here.
Yeah, this is the day that Flying Colors is released, and it's your fourth studio album. How does it feel? The day has finally come, eh?
Yeah, it feels great. I worked really hard on this album, so it just feels great to be able to share it, man. It's just a joy to get to do that, you know, and see familiar faces like yourself, and you know what I mean? Just like, yeah, man, what a joy to get to do this.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first albums came out a fair amount of time ago.
Yeah.
And so fans like myself, we were so engulfed in those albums so much, and it's going to be such a joy to kind of go through it again and experience.
Cool. Yeah, I hope there's a lot there, you know, a lot of meaning, a lot of enjoyable tunes, you know, and just like a lot of stuff for people to connect with, you know, as much as I have, obviously, making it.
Yeah. The first albums, they had a lot of inspirational and meaning, as you said, to them.
Yeah.
And I was actually going to ask if we should expect the same from Flying Colors, like almost spiritual.
Yeah.
I found.
Yeah. I would definitely say it's the same thing, you know. Maybe even more so, you know.
Really?
Like the second half of the album, I think, is a lot, you know. It's kind of, I hope it's not too heavy. But there's a lot there, you know. A lot of stuff I've been thinking about and working through, and hopefully, and actually a lot of the lyrics, I was thinking through things and trying to work through things and arrived at some lyrics that really give me hope, you know. So I hope it's the kind of same thing for people listening, you know?
Oh yeah. How did the writing process change between the first three albums and Flying Colors?
Yeah.
Because I know you had probably a lot more people on board with this album, a lot more time.
Yeah. I really wanted to, I wanted to have a few more hands on deck. At the same time, like, I was probably more involved with this album than, even a little bit more involved with this album than the other one. So,
cool.
I just kind of, I wanted to like put myself in a place where there's other voices involved, other hands involved. Yeah.
What are some awesome names and people that you really connected with during the album process?
Well, let me think here. There's a guy named Mike Tompkins that recorded the old Prince. And the first sessions I did for this album were with him, and that felt really good because he's like an old friend, like I grew up with. I've known him since he was like 8.
Amazing. In London?
In London, yeah, and he's gone on to do great things with music, and so it was really cool to connect with him again at like this point in our lives where we're both kind of doing our thing, and like he, you know, he's just a great guy and a friend. So he was really cool to connect with. Obviously, my guys that you always see me with on stage. They're always invited in the process. Scratch Bastard, who's a friend, he was really great to work with. Lights is on the album, and she's another artist that I kind of feel like I started my career around the same time she did, and it's cool to hook up again. Eternia has a great verse on the album. A lot of people, a lot of different people came through.
Yeah. So the first albums where they were more just you and your DJ, right?
Yeah, the first couple albums, I mean, there'd be other producers involved, but it was, how can I explain it? They weren't physically there as much, you know what I mean? More the kind of internet sort of situation of like coordinating a lot of stuff online, whereas this was more sitting in a room with people and trying to figure stuff out.
More minds on the...
Yeah, just all in there and talking about the parts that we're trying to figure out, but also just talking about the songs and talking about everything.
Yeah, I haven't personally been able to listen to it yet, but I'm going to listen to it tonight.
Yeah,
and
I hope you dig it, man.
So excited. Yeah. We're here at Sonic Boom Records, one of the best record stores in Toronto.
For sure.
I actually remember I saved up my pocket money when I was like 8 and would come here when it was at the other location and buy a CD. So there's lots of history to this place, and Toronto's been like has it been your home musically? Because you're releasing the album tonight and you're having a special showcase here for the album. So and you mentioned Spadina and Queen. You really have kind of a love for it.
Yeah, I mean that's where I recorded, right at around that intersection, and everyone I work with is in the city.
Wow.
So, and I mean, this is really musically like my home, you know?
Yeah.
It's where I feel like I really started out, and like I said, everyone I work with is now here. And, you know, Toronto's just a great city for music.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a lot of culture, a lot of music. Yeah, I think it's a very, 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 very great music city.
Yeah, for sure. It's so big. Because I was talking with my brother, there's so many different music scenes for particular genres. There's probably like 50, some crazy number of just pure punk shows, underground punk shows.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's a very music-centric city. Like, having lived in a few other places, having toured a lot of places, I can definitely say, like, Toronto's got to be top 5 of I've ever visited of, like, just music-centric places. People care about music. You know?
Oh yeah, definitely. When you're downtown, the people that you see, you'd guess at least maybe 1/5 of them are into music.
Totally.
At least.
At least, and like
if not, like their life is a part of it.
Exactly. And I find it like in my group of friends, whether it's somebody who is works in music or whether it's somebody who is a young professional lawyer or something like that, they love music. Like, they care about music. It's like, it's just part of the culture of the city. People really care. Yeah, it's cool.
But what are some other places that you really feel that as well?
Yeah, I'd say, like, you know, New York feels pretty music centric, and Chicago, Toronto even more than Montreal, and certainly more than Vancouver, I'd say, is really music centric.
Yeah, New York's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, other places in Canada, music-wise, like Guelph, I've always thought was a really cool city as far as supporting music, and Victoria as well. But Toronto definitely takes the cake, in my opinion. Yeah.
Great. Myself, I started an all-ages events company called Johnnyland, and our vision is kind of serving the artistic youth of Toronto. And I've noticed that at your shows, at least around Toronto, it's been all ages. Was that intentional?
Well, whenever I can do an all-ages show, I'm very happy to. A lot of times you just can't, the venues don't allow it. But kids need an outlet, and I feel like it's going to be going to a show or it's drinking in the park, you know what I mean? Or like, I don't know, man. I also have always just liked all-ages shows, just like the energy of them. Like, I always think about some of the first shows I ever played in the, like, community centers or wherever, and, you know, young people that are just so there for an experience. And it's not about being cool, it's not about being seen, it's just about seeing live music and that excitement of, you know what I mean? Seeing live music. And I like that energy. I like that energy. It's super fun.
That's actually one of the reasons, if not the reason, I'm kind of doing this. Because there's a feel for at all ages shows. When I was 16 and I went to shows that, and I was a part of that youth energy, they just go way more wild.
They go way more wild, and in a way where, like, they're not going wild for the sake of going wild. They're going wild because they're genuinely excited and they're part of the experience. And the other thing I found too with all ages shows when I was starting was the open-mindedness. You know, because some of these shows that I would play would be maybe mostly like a punk rock bill or whatever. And the kids didn't care. The kids are just down. Like, they're just down for live music, and they want to, you know, they want to be a part of the experience. They want to like it, and so that was cool too.
For sure.
I always have that memory, and it's an underserviced community. I mean, not all the shows I do are all ages, and I think it's an underserviced community. For sure.
Amazing. Do you want to take us back to one of those shows?
Oh yeah, I mean, I got a few. In London, there used to be this venue called the Embassy. Always did all ages shows, and it was just the grimiest place, but it was but that was part of what made it so good, because you wouldn't go there for any other reason than to hear a band. So, you know, it wasn't the cool place to hang out.
Think of Sound City, right? Like how grungy it was there, and then some of the best albums were recorded there.
Totally. It just feels like music, and people went there for a show because there's no other reason to go. It's grimy, you know. And those are some of my favorite shows. I remember playing once in Sudbury too, and just kind of like this big Legion or community center or something like that, and just set up on the ground. There was no stage. Somebody brought in a PA, and it was, again, just so fun. You know, the bands on the bill were all different kinds of music, and everybody was down, and the energy was like just really positive. Those are some of some of my favorite experiences of playing, for sure.
Awesome. Yeah, part of it is I believe that as people get older, there's just a bit more awkwardness and more need to just drink to have fun, and that's why you see the bars can't do all ages shows. It's harder to do all ages shows because you gotta have a bar tab and stuff. So going back to that youth, I love that you can have all ages shows. The show on Saturday is all ages.
Yeah, at the Opera House. I'm looking forward to that. The last show we did there was super fun too. Same thing, like kind of vibe. It was like everybody was very present and like it was cool.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
I have to ask you.
Yeah.
There's some lines from TSOL and The Old Prince where you say you kind of tell the people who are listening to not to turn to religion so immediately.
Yeah.
And I think you said, my children need to see Jesus as their weakness.
Yeah.
That's one line.
Yeah.
And I was just wondering, are you an atheist or are you?
No. I would say I'm a spiritual person for sure. And and I believe religion can be such a great way for people to connect with what's important, to connect with their values and a sense of sacredness in the world and in other human beings. And that's what it is to me. That's what it is in my life. I think there's like tremendous amount of value in that. Because, being reminded of the sacredness of human beings, like every life, you know what I mean? Like treating people with that kind of respect is so valuable. It can be misconstrued, as we all know, and can be used in the very much the wrong way. But I'll never be against people using whatever they can to find what's important to them and to stick to what's important to them and their values, and especially to find a way to care for other people and you know what I mean? Respect the dignity of other people, for sure.
Just humanity.
Yeah.
Amazing. And so you are not religious, but you are spiritual?
Well, you know what? I'm not concerned with
I'm
not concerned with any label. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I grew up going to church, and that's still, there's rituals in that tradition that I still hold close to me that I'm like, that's valuable, and I carry that with me. I still practice those things. But it's always within that frame for me. Like, is this making me more truthful and compassionate person? And if it's not, then it's not serving its purpose, right? And you might as well get rid of it. But if it is, then hold on to it, whatever it is, that you've been taught to get to that place.
I believe that if people had that state of mind more so in society, we'd have a lot more peace in this world.
I think we would be walking in that direction. You know what I mean? One small step at a time. I mean, we all know how hard it is to change as a person. It takes a long time. So as a society and as a world, it'll take even longer for all of us to take that step together, right? But it's possible, I think.
Awesome.
Yeah, man.
That's amazing. Yeah. How does it feel to be #1? Have your album as a #1 hip hop album on CBC?
I'm really moved by that support. You know what I mean? Like you said, it has been a long time since I put out my last album. So for people to be interested in what I'm doing and to be going to iTunes to check it out, that means a lot. I'm really moved by that. Yeah.
Awesome. It's so cool to have an artist like you who has really good values in their music and have that attention focused on you.
Cool. Well, yeah, like I said, man, I'm really appreciative and kind of moved by that support that's there, Yeah, it feels great.
Sweet.
Feels awesome.
All right, well, it's been a pleasure talking to you.
Likewise. Good to see you again, man.
Yeah.
Sweet.